Welcome back, everybody, to the game that I'm playing right now called Tactics Ogre Rebirth. Wonderful start. Great. We're going to vanquish the enemy leader, which in this case is another necromancer. Won't that be fun? Luckily, I was able to view the board to see that it was a necromancer.
You are far from home, Denim of Goliath.
Denim, you say? Then we are betrayed. Cursed sister.
Nothing I can't handle, Cressida. Go now. Inform Master Nybeth of our visitor.
What? And leave you here alone, Mother? You must permit me to stay, I beg you.
Do not worry yourself over me. Master Nybeth's artifact will serve, should it come to that. Now, get you gone.
Have care, Mother.
So she's a recruitable character, I believe, in the Chaos route.
Denizens of the Abyss, from the ink of blackest night, I summon you.
Not exactly sure I understand the whole fact these guys don't have faces. This guy has a face, this guy got face, this guy got face. Dragons get faces.
The blood of my dear.
But for some reason necromancers seem to have this blank
blood call
no
for
face.
Blood.
It's weird to me. Anywho. Unlike this lava area, it has been relatively cold where I'm at. Actually, it's been... I'm lying. It's been bouncing back and forth between very spring-like and very cold. And I don't mean like January cold, because we're now, you know, practically in March now. Probably by the time this episode comes out, we will be in March. And on Friday, when I left work, it was like in the upper 50s. And now it is in the low 30s again. Well, that's certainly not January weather by any means. You know, because if it was January weather, it would be in the fucking teens right now. Which is always kind of interesting to me. And I understand that there's always a delay in terms of weather. So the coldest days of the year are not the shortest days of the year. Those come about a month later. You know what I mean? But at that point, as you're going through January, the sun's getting higher and higher into the sky. But by the time you hit the coldest temperatures, which is usually that second, third, fourth week of January and maybe the first week of February, those tend to be the coldest, at least where I live, coldest periods of the year. Not that you can't have cold days in December, or you can't have cold days in February. It just seems like they are all, like, at some point in January you're gonna have a week of single, you know, like single digit days, you know, is the high. And then after that you get into February and it's like, oh well, you're back to December weather, which is like lows in the upper teens, you know, highs in the 30s or 40s. You get to March, and then you start looking at some days they're going to pop up that are going to be, you know, in their 50s or 60s. And then, you know, after that you're in April. You're like you've legitimately hit spring. You can fucking stop thinking about Stop thinking about how cold it's been and start thinking about how hot it's gonna be. I must say, I'm very surprised. This game hasn't really ramped up the damage. Like, I guess I shouldn't. Say this because I don't really mind the fact that this game's a lot more defensive than a lot of other strategy games you play. Where typically you start out by, I don't know, start out by doing damage somewhere in like the teens, 20s with your, your super moves topping out around 100. Then as you continue to upgrade your armor and weapons, you start getting more HP. You start doing like hundreds of damage every swing, and your finishing moves are doing 500, 1,000 damage practically. Not that they're necessarily one-shotting anybody. Well, I guess these would all be one-shot if they got 1,000, but like 500 would not one-shot someone, but it would put you in a pretty decent position to finish them off, Whereas, like, they like, maybe this was the same in the other, I know it wasn't like this in Let Us Cling Together for the PSP, but, the fact that I have like 1,000 HP, roughly, maybe 900 is more of a better reference point, okay? And so do the enemies, and everybody's doing somewhere in the ballpark of 100 damage. That means like you're doing 1/10 damage, okay? Which is fine and dandy, except of course that means you gotta attack an enemy 10 times before it dies. And then, repeat the process. Oh boy. And then you get that where you see the computer doing, a range, or not only a ranged spell, but a ranged multi or area effect spell that does what? Was that like 300 damage? I mean, 218, that's great. You know what I mean? But that's what an archer is designed for. An archer is designed to be your mage, to take out your mages. So, I don't know. It's a little messy. I'm not really sure why I'm complaining, to be honest. It just, I mean, it's the defensive thing. I've gone back and forth on defense stuff. The more defense you have, the longer a battle goes on. So, when your character's got 800, 900 HP, and you're doing 100 damage, that's 8 or 9 hits, okay? When you're doing, like, 400 damage, then that's like 2 to 3 hits. You know what I mean? And in a lot of cases, I feel like, particularly in RPGs, the enemy's damage doesn't scale with you, so you're able to like tank through their damage. And at the same time, their HP keeps going through the roof. Like, you know, end of Final Fantasy VII, okay? Unless you're really, like, grinding out that game, you'll finish somewhere in the ballpark of about 3,000 HP, okay? Give or take if you happen to bump into some materia that helps to increase your HP, you know? But the bosses you're going to be fighting do not have 3,000 HP. They have, you know, I don't know. I would have to look it up, but they've got significantly more than, you know, I want to say 100,000 HP would probably be a little bit of a stretch. But you'll do somewhere in the ballpark about 3,000 damage per hit. You multiply that over, say, 10 hits, that's 30,000. Boss battle lasts longer than 10 hits. I don't know. It's hard to say. But anyways, you know what I'm saying, you know, like, they're not doing... If they did 3,000 damage to you, you'd be dead. You'd be essentially gone from full life to near empty life. Meanwhile, you're doing, you know, critting for 50, 60,000. No, not 50 or 60,000. 5 or 6,000, you know. You know, if you lowered the damage, you lowered their HP, then you would have a similar battle over the same amount of time. Might be a little fair. What point I was trying to get at is a lot of RPGs, what happens is the ability to do damage seems to go through the roof. And then it just becomes a who goes first, one shot, you know, finale of like, no, what should happen is, you know, for every level you gain, you should get like 2 attack and 1 defense. So yeah, your damage scaling is going up and up and up and up, but it's sort of negated out by the fact that your HP and defense are going up. Maybe not at the same rate, but a similar rate that you're gaining attack points. So, you know, instead of it just being like, okay, I attack, you die. You attack, I die. It becomes more like, okay, what's good? What weaknesses does this character have? How do I use that to my advantage? You know, is there some gimmick to the boss that I should be aware of? My only issue with this is the fact that these battles, despite the fact that I'm running stronger weapons and armor, they seem to go on and on and on and on because, you know, you're doing 100 damage or 200 damage. You've got to knock out this dragon that's got, what, 1,200? What do you got? 1,400 HP. And I'm doing somewhere in the ballpark about 200 some odd damage. The other thing I think is kind of weird about at least this game anyways is like they talk about, well, you know, you got to use your type advantage. So if you see an enemy with fire, you need to throw water at them, you know, or whatever they're weak against, okay? But the type advantage doesn't really seem to give you all that much. So if you're doing like 300 damage, it might give you an additional 60 damage. It's decent, but it's like, if you don't have the type advantage, you're just sort of neutral, like a ground versus, I don't know. Ground versus ice would be neutral in this game. It seems like you deal the same amount of damage regardless. You know. if it's a mage, it's a warrior, it's whatever. You seem to do roughly the same amount of damage. So you'll throw out a magic spell, and it'll go up against a mage, and it'll do, 150, 200 damage. Or, for instance, finishers like 214. And if I were to go to do it against the boss, it would probably be also around 214. Within a margin of error that's kind of silly. And what's kind of...
I did not think to need this now. What? No! Nybeth has doomed me!
I think she was trying to use an item that would have turned her into a lich. I'm not 100% sure. But I think the only way to get a lich in this game is to turn a necromancer into one by using an item. But I have neither necromancers nor the ability to... I have not the ability to recruit a necromancer, so I'm not going to be able to get a lich until I have the ability to get necromancer. Which I don't know if you can do in any other playthrough except for chaotic. Maybe you can post-game, I don't know. Bump, 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 bump. Bum bum bum. Bum bum bum. The neutral playthrough in this game is very bizarre too. And we've pretty much run into the reason why it's bizarre already. But basically to explain is you get to the massacre at Bama Musa, and you say, okay, I'm not going to worry about that. I mean, oh, sorry, not going to worry about that. That's terrible. I refuse to be part of this. Okay, great. Then you get your second choice, and the option is to stay the course as a person who will not follow the Duke, regardless of the fact that, situations have changed, and now you can't be infighting anymore. You have to focus on the fact that you're being threatened by the other half of the island. Now you got to regroup and do it, but that means sacrificing your beliefs. Ignoring the fact that the Duke ordered you to slaughter all those people. So that part doesn't make any sense. I mean, it does, but it doesn't.
Step near that pit, and we'll need no swords or sorcery to do us in.
That you profane this temple can only mean my mother and I are forever parted.
It is she who profaned the dead. I'll not mourn her passing. Yield now, or rejoin her in the Everworld.
Who are you to judge? You who have slain legions in your war. The wage of your ambition is paid in the lives of others. You can never understand the prize for which we struggle.
You use souls and corpses for sport. No prize is worth such sacrilege.
I've no time to argue with the likes of you. I must focus on the task at hand, both for my sister and now my mother. Your corpse will make a fine gift for Master Nybeth. Denizens of the Abyss, from ink of blackest night, I summon you. Darkness to me!
So, fun factoid, she is, in fact, I think I mentioned this, but she is recruitable in the Chaos playthrough, which is the second one, which we'll be doing second. And her character design is a bit weird. I don't mind it, but her portrait sort of cuts off the part that I sort of don't like. And by don't like, I mean I find kind of creepy. And maybe that's just my silly American morals, my Puritan, oh, we don't like anything that's sexy in America because that's gross. I mean, not gross, that's inappropriate. That's you need to be modest, which is kind of weird because a lot of cultures have modesty policies or modesty in sort of a conservative element of their, you know, society, whether that be, you know, European, Asian, I'm not gonna say African, that's a little bit different, as is South American, because you start talking about the tropics, then you start running into reasons why you wouldn't want to wear clothes. But anywho, she's very scantily clad and very revealing in her clothing below her neckline, and there's not really anything to see there. I mean, there is, but, you know, it's not like, you know, oh, look at that sexy black mage with her huge honkers nearly spilling out of her top. It's more like, no thing there. Iron board. Look at my flat chest. Makes me want to gag. Oh shit. Don't do that. I don't exactly know what video I watched on TikTok recently, but for some reason it's decided to start giving me a lot of, like, hey, you look like a person who likes romance anime. And I'm like, no, not really. If I watched one or two, yes. Probably have heard me talk about, what is it called? Todara? It's the one where you have a character named Taiga, and I don't remember the male character's name off the top of my head. I think it's Ruji. I really like that one. It had a little bit of anime trash in it, you know, like, oh good, another piece of anime trash with all of the stupid, what's it called, cliches, you know. At the same time, you know, it did bring something kind of unique to the board I really liked a lot. I don't know. There's something about it that there are parts of it that feel very, very honest and unique and real. And there are a lot of parts of it that are like, oh good, let's do the beach episode. Oh boy, here comes the what is it? Something school fair. There it is, the school fair in the summer. And I get it, it's probably some sort of like thing that a lot of people of that culture share. Like, for instance, you know, if you were to say, oh well, how about spring break? You know, oh, we're gonna go on spring break when we're in college and go wild and drink lots of beers and have a good time, yuck it up, you know, or whatever. That was stupid. Yeah, we're going back. I wanted to do something different. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I was trying to compare these two, I think is what I was trying to do.